There's a special kind of silence that happens in a lawyer's office when your future is being decided. The air gets heavy, you can hear your own heartbeat. My grandmother, Eleanor, was the matriarch, the glue, the foundation of our family. And when she died, she left behind a $3 million estate and a lesson about family that I would never, ever forget. My sister, Chloe, sat next to me, clutching a tissue, the perfect picture of grief. But if you looked closely, past the tears, you could see the calculation in her eyes. She was already doing the math. The will was simple and brutal. To my sister, Chloe, went the entirety of the liquid assets, the properties, the stock portfolio. And to me, Elena, the dreamer, the artist, went my grandmother's personal diaries and the contents of her writing desk. Chloe looked at me with this performative pity and said she trusted me to do what's right for the family. Her idea of managing the inheritance was to buy a penthouse in Miami and a Lamborghini within the month. Mine was a stack of old leather-bound notebooks. She came to my cramped apartment a week later, smelling of expensive perfume and condescension. "Lena, sweetie," she said, "I know it seems unfair, but you're impulsive. You'd blow through the money. I'm a businesswoman. I'm investing it." Then she offered me a $2,000 a month allowance, crumbs from a banquet I was supposed to co-own. And I, heartbroken and defeated, took them. For weeks, I couldn't bring myself to open the diaries. The pain was too fresh. But when I finally did, I found my grandmother's voice again. And then I found the truth. It was hidden in a false bottom of the writing desk, a final, secret diary. Page after page in her elegant script detailed how Chloe had been secretly visiting her for months, whispering lies about me, that I was unstable, an addict, that I would waste the family fortune and destroy our name. My grandmother and her fading health had been manipulated, preyed upon. The final entry made my blood run cold. She wrote, "I fear I have made a terrible mistake. Chloe's eyes have a hunger that frightens me. Protect Elena." She knew. At the end, she knew what she had done. While I was sitting on my floor, surrounded by this devastating truth, Chloe was building her brand. She launched Chloe Living, the self-made woman who turned a small, mysterious inheritance into a global empire. She had 1 million followers. They adored her. They bought the products she shilled, worshipped her luxury halls, and believed every word of her #selfmade captions. Every post was a lie. Every boast was an insult to our grandmother's memory. And that's when my heartbreak didn't just turn to anger, it turned to ice. I named my plan Project Cinderella because I was going to make sure that at the stroke of midnight, everything she had, the coach, the horses, the gown, would turn back into what it really was, a pumpkin, some mice, and rags. The first step was infiltration. I created a new identity. Isabella, a wealthy, discreet art curator from Geneva. I spent weeks building the profile, studying the language, the mannerisms. I started commenting on Chloe's posts with intelligent, specific flattery. I slid into her DMs about exclusive investment opportunities. I became the one person who understood the burdens of her new wealth. I learned her deepest insecurity, the fear of being seen as new money, an imposter in the world she so desperately wanted to belong to. Within 2 months, Isabella was her most trusted confidant. The sister she had cast aside was now the architect of her trust. The first crack appeared during a video call. She was showing off her new Birkin bag. "Isabella," I said, my voice calm and curious, "that's an exquisite piece. Is it from the 2017 collection?" Her smile tightened just for a fraction of a second. "Oh, you know," she laughed, "a little too high. I have so many, I lose track." But I knew it was a fake. A brilliant, super fake, but a fake. I knew because I had access to a secret email account she used for her less legitimate purchases. An account I had quietly hacked. It was a small thread, but I had it, and I began to pull. I became a ghost in her machine. I cross-referenced everything. The Lamborghini, leased. The Miami penthouse, rented. The investment portfolio she bragged about, a series of high-interest loans she had taken out against the inherited properties, bleeding them dry. I found the offshore account where she'd stashed the last of our grandmother's money. She was living a life of smoke and mirrors, funded by a fortune that was rapidly evaporating. I compiled it all. Every lease, every loan document, every fake receipt into a digital masterpiece, a portrait of a fraud. But evidence alone wasn't enough. I needed a climax. I needed her to orchestrate her own downfall. So as Isabella, I presented her with the opportunity of a lifetime, a boutique hotel in Aspen. A sure thing. I, as her generous partner, would put up 80%. She just needed to show she was serious, to prove her liquidity with a loan of $500,000 of her own money. I watched in real time as she drained the last of the offshore account, the final remnants of our stolen inheritance, and wired it directly to a shell corporation I had created. She had just paid for the bullet and handed me the gun. I created the Aspen Partners Gala. I rented the most exclusive venue in the city. I hired actors to play fellow investors, journalists, socialites. I made it the most sought-after ticket of the season. And I made sure Chloe was the guest of honor. The night arrived. She was resplendent, dripping in rented diamonds, believing this was her coronation into the legitimate elite. And I, Elena, the forgotten sister, bought a single ticket and watched from the shadows. She took the stage, beaming under the lights. The speech was all her classic tropes. As a self-made woman, the value of taking risks. I let her get through the best part. And then I started walking. I walked calmly, deliberately, down the center aisle. The look on her face, it shifted from confusion to recognition to pure, undiluted terror. It was the most satisfying moment of my life. I took the microphone from her frozen hand. My voice was steady, clear, and echoed through the suddenly silent room. "Hello, Chloe." Or should I say, "Hello, sister." I turned to the crowd. My sister is a master of risk, it's true. She risked our family. She risked her integrity. And she just risked $500,000 of our grandmother's stolen money on a hotel that doesn't exist. I clicked the button in my hand. On the giant screen behind us, her life unraveled in high definition. The manipulated will, the fake Birkin receipt, the drained bank accounts, the leases for every car, bag, and apartment. The crowd gasped. Phones went up, recording it all. "Every diamond is rented," I said. "Every post is a lie. The only thing that's real is the inheritance you stole and the diary you were too arrogant to find." The chaos instanted. She was screaming, trying to pull the plug, but it was too late. It was all live-streamed. And on my cue, the repossession agents I had hired walked in. They took the jewelry right off her neck, the handbag from her arm. The investors revealed themselves as actors. Her world, her beautiful, perfect fake world, collapsed in front of 1 million live viewers. The house of cards didn't just fall, it was vaporized. In the aftermath, I didn't sue her. I didn't need to. The truth was a more effective weapon. Her followers abandoned her. The brands sued her. The bank foreclosed on the properties. The $500,000? I used it to start the Eleanor Foundation, granting art scholarships to kids that actually have talent and drive, not just greed. I didn't want the money for a Lamborghini. I wanted to restore the legacy my grandmother intended. Chloe now lives in a small studio apartment, facing a mountain of debt and lawsuits. The world knows her as the fake influencer. She thought she could steal a legacy and build a new one on top of it. But she forgot that foundations matter. You can paint over rot for a while, you can decorate a hollow structure, but eventually the truth will always bleed through. My revenge wasn't about getting the money back. It was about proving that the values my grandmother truly stood for Honesty, integrity, family could not be so easily erased. I didn't destroy my sister. I just turned on the lights, and she was the one who couldn't stand what was revealed.